It's your boy Todd coming at you live, aka pre-recorded, to talk to you about your vibe. Your vibe sucks. I'm kidding. I'm sure you have a great vibe. So, what I want to talk about today, I've talked about the vibe, right? And I've talked about, being the man and having that kind of je ne sais quoi, if you will. Okay. This is a very important part of that vibe, and it's something that I haven't really talked about before. Part of that vibe that women are attracted to is, so we've covered in other videos, it's dressing cool, right? It's freedom, like it's like being loose and being free. It's I am the shit, and that really being kind of a unconditional love type thing. And then we've talked about, women love me because women love men, or women love to have sex with me because women love to have sex with men. And we talked about those kind of universals. This is another one that, fits in with that bucket of that vibe that is really attracted to women. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit. And it's this feeling that sex isn't that big of a deal. Like dating, women, sex, it's just not that big of a deal. So that is another part of this vibe that is really attractive to women, where it's just like, it's just not a big deal. It's assumed. It's all good. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit, because it's a little bit of a paradox, and there are a couple things to unpack here. So first of all, there's a saying, and by there's a saying, I mean I have a saying, which is sex is like air. It's, not a big deal until you don't have any of it. And then it becomes a very big deal. Okay? So this part of the vibe where it's like women, dating, sex, not that big of a deal. It's a little bit of a paradox here, right? Because I'm making videos about this topic. So clearly it's important, but at the same time, you want to hold this belief that sex, meeting women, romantic relationships, it's just not that big of a deal, okay? Now, I'm going to gear this advice towards guys that feel like it's a big deal, because if they don't, then you probably already lost interest in watching this video. Okay, so if you are a guy that you feel like it's a big deal, like you're hung up on it, you're not having a lot of sex, you're not having a lot of success with women, and you don't really have this feeling or this vibe of like, hey, it's all good, it's all Gucci, it's cool, like it's not that big of a deal. Okay. So I want to share with you two things that I think will really kind of help shift things for you. Okay? We're going to get a little bit crass here, but you know me. That's my favorite. Okay. Number one, I recommend using the Spank Bank. Okay? So what I recommend here is, instead of watching porn, I want you to replay all of the amazing women that you have had sex with over your life. Hopefully you've had some. Okay? And I would have you just replay those, and then even imagine new scenarios and like play with it a little bit, like do some fantasy around women that you have already been with. And I would really have that be like your main thing that you go for. Side note, semen retention doesn't work. It's stupid. Like, it's, guys, what are we even doing here? Enjoy your life. You know what I mean? Like, have a good sesh, like enjoy your life. Like, what is this tightness around it, controlling around it? It's like, forget it. Okay, anyways, brief aside, but like, so dumb. Okay. Spank Bank. First thing is, I really recommend only pleasuring thyself, if you will, to women that you've already been with, because your brain can't really tell the difference, visualization wise. If you visualize something, you experience it, like the brain has trouble telling if it's real or not. So kind of at like a subconscious level, there's an abundance, right? Because you're revisiting all of these amazing sexual experiences and you're creating new ones with women that you've been with to reinforce the fact that you have it, you have had it, it's not that big of a deal. Okay. So that's one small technique. We know techniques aren't the end all be all. There's bigger things. Okay. I want to share with you another paradigm to kind of help you unhook. Okay. Here's the deal. Getting stuff is never fulfilling. You can get something and sure, you'll enjoy it very briefly and then reset. Okay? True fulfillment in life, true having your cup full, is two parts. It's giving and it's being open to receiving. This is the secret. Like, literally, this is it. It is that any amount of getting, any amount of take, any amount of wanting makes you feel like shit, and it doesn't even feel that good when you get whatever it is that you think you want to get. And we're talking about sex right now, but we can talk about literally anything else that you wanted. You know this is true. You have wanted things that you told yourself would make you fulfilled. Are you fulfilled? Are you happy? No, because it doesn't work. Getting things, the getting and the taking, which is kind of this energy when you don't have sex. So like this getting energy, never fulfilling, ever. Never joyful, okay? Real joy comes from giving and being open to receiving. It's not just giving. If you just give and you don't receive anything, you die. But real joy and real fulfillment is giving and then being open to receiving, not actually getting. So let's tie this back to the vibe and let's tie this back to sex. When a guy is making sex a big deal, he is in that getting. He wants to get it. That's the vibe. You know what I'm talking about, because if sex feels like a big deal, you just want it and you want to get it. Okay. That is the error. That is the cognitive distortion. The cognitive distortion is that when you get it, you'll be happy and you'll be fulfilled. But it's not true. And don't even take my word for it. Just look in your own life. Think back to anything it was that you wanted to get, and you got it. And sure, probably for a minute or two, you felt good. And then what? Right back. Okay? So it's shifting into, my goal isn't to get women in sex. My goal is to give into this area and be open to receiving. So let's bring it all the way back. Circuitous Todd, apparently, today. Important part of vibe is having that vibe that meeting women and sex is not that big of a deal. Two things that will help you kind of shift in that direction. One is good old spank bank. Two is recognizing the cognitive distortion of getting and that getting energy, and understanding that it really won't make you happy, and that what will really feel good is to actually give into this area, put energy and effort into it, and being open to receiving, being set up to receive. I've talked about in other videos that, your offer, your invitation to women needs to be something that is easy for them to kind of flow in and flow out of, because that opens you up to receiving more, because it is important, if you give, to also be able to receive. Okay. And then to cap this off, it is a paradox. You want it and you're putting all of this energy into it, but at the same time, it's not a big deal. Well, if it wasn't a big deal, why would I even do anything? Right. So it is a paradox that you are putting energy into it while at the same time making it not a big deal. because you're giving into this area, going out, creating great vibes, flirting with women, hitting on them, doing your outreach or your follow-up, texting them, calling them, trying to get them out, trying to spend time and cultivate. You're like putting energy into this and being open to receiving it. All the way back to the beginning, part of the vibe that women are attracted to is that it isn't a big deal. Even this video is like pretty beta. Like this is some pretty beta chump loser shit. Like making a video about why it's not a big deal. Like, I recognize that it's a paradox, and we do want to shift into like, it's not a big deal. Like, it really isn't. Like, meeting women, sex is a beautiful part of life. It's amazing. It's nothing to get bent out of shape about. You're just going to show up and continue to evolve and continue to expand and continue to learn and continue to just grow. And you're going to receive on this front, and it's going to be really nice. So it isn't a big deal. So those are some of my thoughts on what helps me shift when I've gone through periods of, due to other things in life, like work and family, and like we just have other things, and there'll be a period of not, really having a lot of abundance in that area. And these are some of the things that I do to help kind of shift and get away from that real getting to, hey, it's not a big deal. So I'd love to hear what you guys like to do, like what helps you shift when you're kind of in scarcity and you want to move towards abundance. I'd love to hear it. I've got another thought that I want to share with you guys, but I'll put it in another video. All right. See you out there or back in here. Who knows?